normalization of untruths and the misinformation and disinformation that spreads around is stunning. I mean, to the point where if you normalize it and accept it, then truth has no value. And when truth has no value, science falls apart, because science is a process for getting to evidence, data, and truth. And if you take that away, then skepticism abounds. Who are you going to believe? You're going to believe a health official? No, because they said that this was going to happen and that happened. So, when I hate to be giving lessons to audiences, but spare me here, is that if there's anything that you can really do to help your country and society, is push back on this normalization of untruth. Don't accept it as, well, that's the way things are. Because once we accept that that's the way things are, the democracy is going to fall apart. It really will. And I'm not being hyperbolic about it. That's what's going to happen. So it goes well beyond skepticism of public health. It's in all the society.
I always say these guys just need a mirror, right? Like somebody, if we could get Fauci's address, I would find a very fancy mirror and have it sent overnight to his house, because that's all he needs. Everything he's accusing the rest of is what he did, right? Fauci pushed misinformation the entire time. You guys all know it. The emails that he sent out in like March or April of 2020, saying to friends that they could go on vacation because masks are useless, so don't even bother wearing them. The fact that they pushed vaccine lockdowns, social distancing, these were all made up things. None of it worked. Okay, we now know all of that, but they keep coming, and a certain set of people. By the way, they always couch it with it. If you question too many things, I thought scientists now would agree with scientists. They don't believe in skepticism. But if you question them and you don't believe them, then guess what? Democracy's also going to fall apart. Well, there are a couple good scientists out there. One of them is from Stanford. Jay Bhattacharya. He's been on the show a bunch of times. And he has been on the forefront of actual skepticism, questioning what the government is doing and why they're injecting us with things, and do they have efficacy and all of those things. He had an interesting tweet because there's some really crazy stuff coming out of Canada right now. He wrote, in the imminent dystopian post-online arms act in Canada, the government will rescue no crimes. Quote tweeting Chris Wood, let me read this really wild. But is responsible. This is called the Online Arms Act in Canada. To resign from office immediately. Any opposition member not calling for their urgent replacement is also captured. Our most basic right is being stolen by Trudeau's ideologues. This cannot stand, and here's just a bit about it. Justice Minister Arif Nurani has defended a new power in the online harms bill to impose arrest on someone who is feared to commit a hate crime in the future, even if they have not yet done so already. Did any of you see Minority Report? This is pre-crime. The person could be made to wear an electronic tag if the Attorney General requested or ordered by a judge to remain at home, the bill says. Mr. Nurani, who's Attorney General as well as Justice Minister, said it is important that any peace bond be calibrated carefully, saying it would have to meet a high threshold to apply. Do you guys get it? They are literally going for pre-crime. If you didn't see Minority Report with Tom Cruise, Spielberg movie from about 20 years ago, it's a spectacular movie. That's what they're going for. So that means that they
longer than that, man. It's almost 30 years ago.
This guy, he follows Trump. Yeah. And he's saying these America First things, or he doesn't like Trudeau, or blah, blah, blah. I'll be putting him on house arrest, and of course it will have a very high threshold. But it'll only go in one direction, right? It won't be for the Antifa people or the Hamas people who are running the streets right now in Toronto. It's absolutely insane what's going on in Toronto and in much of Canada. It's always going to be for people on the right. You guys get it. You know it. But the point of all of this is that it is a damn shame, to say the least, that the people we were supposed to trust about public safety and our health and a whole bunch more, who probably decades ago were at least somewhat trustworthy and competent and everything else, have just completely abdicated their duty. Another scientist who I trust, you know him from the Rubin Report, Dr. Brett Weinstein, he testified at Congress just a few days ago about how public trust is collapsing right now, and it's kind of exactly what should happen.
I believe we must zoom out if we are to understand the pattern that we are gathered here to explore, because the pattern is larger than federal health agencies and the COVID cartel. If we do zoom out and ask, what are they hiding? The answer becomes as obvious as it is disturbing. They are hiding everything. It will be jarring for many to hear a scientist speak with such certainty. It should be jarring. We are trained to present ideas with caution as hypotheses in need of a test. But in this case, I have tested the idea, and I am as certain of it as I am of anything. We are being systematically blinded. It is the only explanation I have encountered that will not only describe the present, but also, in my experience, predicts the future with all but perfect accuracy. The pattern is a simple one. You can see it clearly and test it yourself. Every single institution dedicated to public truth-seeking is under simultaneous attack. They are all in a state of collapse. Every body of experts fails utterly. Individual experts who resist, or worse, in an attempt to return their institutions to sanity, they find themselves coerced in submission. If they won't buckle, they are marginalized or forced out. Those outside of the institutions who either seek truth alone or who build new institutions with a truth-seeking mission face merciless attacks on both their integrity and expertise, often by the very institutions whose mission they refuse to abandon.
Brett has given a very, very stark warning there. If you didn't see my interview with Brett about 2 months ago right here, it's spectacular. He's actually laying that out in a much deeper way because we get to sit down for the full hour. But you know what he said is true here. The institutions are collapsing. Everyone who stands up against the institutions, whether it's the CDC or whether it's a good, actually liberal professor who believes in free speech at Harvard, let's say, they are the ones who are booted out. And what he's saying is there is a coordinated attack on all of our institutions, right? And we see it. We see it absolutely everywhere. This DEI thing got pushed into all of the institutions, and it's doing exactly what it set out to do. It's why I always say, you can't just, they're just a bunch of purple-haired, fat, asexual losers. It's like, oh, okay, that might be true, but they also caused a hell of a lot of damage, right? And now, it's selective prosecution because it's gone into our judiciary. It is across the board. And what happens if all of our institutions collapse? Well, Fauci is warning about it. If you're too skeptical, if we get too many of these skeptical people, it might end democracy. But actually, if all of our institutions crap out, that would be the thing that could end democracy. Brett talked about that.
Our research universities spend huge sums of public money to reach preordained conclusions. Professors teach only lessons that are consistent with wisdom students have picked up on TikTok, even when those lessons contradict the foundational principles of their disciplines. The CDC has become an excellent guide to protecting your health, but only for people who realize you should do the opposite of whatever it advises. The courts, the last holdout in this ongoing inversion of reality, are now regularly used as a coercive weapon against those who threaten them. We have literally witnessed the Department of Homeland Security attempt to set up a truth ministry and declare accurate critique of government as a kind of terrorism. To my fellow patriots in the West, the pattern is unmistakable. I cannot tell you with any certainty who they are or what they hope to accomplish, but I can tell you that we are being systematically denied the tools of enlightenment and the rights guaranteed in our Constitution. We, those who remain dedicated to the values of the West, must fight this battle courageously, and we must win. For if we do not stem the tide, the result will be a dark age that differs from prior dark ages only in the power and sophistication of the coercive instruments wielded by those who will rule us.
I'd say it's sort of an honor doing the show in a weird way, like interviewing all these people, becoming friends with them, breaking bread with them, knowing them so well, and then seeing this type of people, and obviously Brett right in the middle of it, who are just leveling up and are part of the solution, or at least trying to expose the problem. His line about doing the opposite of what the CDC said was pretty great. Also, it's interesting. He says he says something to the effect of, I don't know who they are or what they hope to accomplish. And that's why I always refer to it. You can refer to it as the machine, whatever you want, the swamp, whatever it is. Like, we don't know exactly who they are, the globalists, but there is something wrong in our system. We all know it. We all know that there are people on mainstream media who just lie about everything, and that there are people at all the institutions who lie about everything, and it's like, why? Why? I don't know. I don't know exactly. I mean, is it to just fundamentally destroy the West, as he says? I guess that's quite likely. But, everything that we focused on so far has been about COVID, and I know when we do COVID stuff, a certain set of people are like, well, it's in the past, and we shouldn't worry about it, and it's never going to happen again, and we'll rise up this time. I'm not so convinced of that, but why don't we take that actually to some of the things that are happening right now, un-COVID, well, they're not really un-COVID related because this stuff is all related, but immigration and big tech censorship. We'll talk about that on the other side. Real quick, let me talk to you guys about Hillsdale College. Guys, time is our most precious commodity, and I've heard from so many of my listeners who have asked for my advice on how they can spend it wisely to improve themselves and the people around them. That's why I'm excited that Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses in the most important and enduring subjects. You can learn about the works of C.S. Lewis, the stories in the book of Genesis, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution, the rise and fall of the Roman Republic, or the history of the ancient Christian church with Hillsdale College's online courses, all available for free. That's right, totally free. I recommend you sign up for American Citizenship and Its Decline with Victor Davis Hanson. In this 8-lecture course, Dr. Hanson explores the history of citizenship in the West and the threat it faces today. Threats like the erosion of the middle class, the disappearance of our borders, the growth of an unaccountable deep state, is the right head or what, and the rise of globalist organization. The course is self-paced so that you can start whenever and wherever. Start your free course, American Citizenship and Its Decline with Victor Davis Hanson today. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/Dave to start. It's free and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/Dave to start. And now back to me. So let's jump all of this misinformation and who can you trust and watching our institutions collapse. And, well, why the hell is it happening? Who's doing it to us? Let's get that out of the COVID thing for a moment and let's bring it up to the border thing, because the border thing is the big thing at the moment. If you don't have a border, you don't have a country. Certain Americans that have COVID. Well, here is Mike Johnson, obviously head of the Republicans in the House, going after Department of Homeland Security
Stop, you fucking idiot.
He's being impeached. He's in the middle of impeachment. They're going in and impeaching this guy. We'll see what happens. But here they are talking about the disinformation government score back in July of 2023. I think it was great.
Can you define what disinformation is? Disinformation is false information. Excellent. Who determines what is false?
Congressman, our focus.
No, who determines what is false in your agency? If you're going to pull something off the internet and collude with a social media platform to make sure Americans don't see it, who determines what's false?
Congressman, we don't do that.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not what the court has found. This is not a Republican talking point. This is what the documents show. We've had people testify under oath that say, and you just define the term, you're telling me that you don't know who determines what is false?
Congressman, what we do at CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, is identify tactics that adverse nation states have used to weaponize disinformation.
What are you doing?
Okay, what is disinformation? What is disinformation?
Disinformation is inaccurate information.
Who determines what's inaccurate? Who determines what's false? You understand the problem here? The reason the framers of our Constitution did not create an exception for quote-unquote false information from the First Amendment is because they didn't trust the government to determine what it is. You have whole committees of people in your agency trying to determine what they define as false or misinformation.
Okay, I should note that that's back in July of 23, so he wasn't even head of the Republican Party or head of the Republicans in the House yet. But he's making a great point. Who is to determine what disinformation is? And that the founders understood that if we let the government decide what disinformation is, and we don't protect that speech by the First Amendment, then anything that goes against the narrative, the government will redefine it disinformation. It could be jailing a whole bunch of people. But by the way, if Mayorkas, much like Fauci and the rest of them, were concerned about disinformation, they would all use that error. Mayorkas might go, boy, was I spreading disinformation for the last year when I've been telling people that the border was secure? That seems to me to be disinformation. We know it was not. Fauci might go, I kept telling everybody that masks work while I was emailing my friend who was going on vacation, but they didn't work. I get that
National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin this year in February. It said the United States remains in a heightened threat environment fueled by several factors, including online environment filled with false or misleading narratives and conspiracy theories, and other forms of dis, and malinformation. Can you define malinformation for us?
Congressman, we're dealing with false information that is used for a particular purpose.
Isn't malinformation actually true information that may be inconvenient to the establishment orthodoxy?
I'm sorry.
Isn't malinformation a made-up word that refers to information that's actually true but just inconvenient to the government narrative?
That is not true.
Are you guys? Say that you don't like all of this information or malinformation, but Mayorkas, okay, fine. But the point is that Mayorkas has been charged. By the way, he's doing it under the money is coming from Biden, I suppose, or whoever's running Biden. The Mayorkas is just doing what he's told to do. It's just a machine. It's just a cog in the machine, I should say. But he has been telling us for years now that there's no problem at all. There is a problem that we consider this sort of malinformation. There's a chart from the statistics explaining a bit about what's going on at the border, and see if you don't need to even look at the numbers. You see how the red keeps going up, and particularly in these last 3 years since Joe Biden took over, the amount of migrant encounters have absolutely exploded.
You ain't done yet, girl.
He's out there, this Mayorkas guy. He is out there and he is alive. This guy is a misinformation agent. Here he is. Catch the lie. Let's see if he can do it.
Is it the policy of the Biden administration to allow as many migrants to come across the border in order to change the political dynamics, the electoral dynamics of America?
Of course not. And the facts.
So why are they doing it?
That is absolutely false. Since May of this year, of last year, we have returned more individuals than in any year since.
You've had more.
We haven't even run the 12 months.
Mayorkas, you see, we all see what you did there. Okay, maybe you're, let's just, be sure that's true. I suspect it is, but let's say you removed a whole bunch of people. It's not about that. You're letting in quite literally 10 times the amount of people that we were letting in, say, in the last year of Donald Trump, about 300,000 people got in. We think last year it was about 3 million people. These are only the ones that we can track. But even if you take out a few more, which, by the way, Trump called racist, that is not a true answer. You seem to be some sort of misinformation or malinformation specialist. I have to concede I'm a misinformation specialist because I told you we only have one more from Mayorkas, but we've got a bonus. Mayorkas, but see when I do misinformation, I call it out, it's there, that's it. It's a little thing, let's not make it.
If you have an order to make, make it now. Oh, what do you have?
Somehow he knows that, some of these Texas wildfires, it's climate change. He doesn't.
Okay, let's take a look at it.
We are in winter, and this is the largest fire in Texas history. We are so unprecedented.
Nothing quite like wearing your best day's work.
We, as a country, as a world, have to be ready for the increasing effects of extreme weather caused by climate change. It's a remarkable phenomenon, and it will manifest.
It's a bullshit phenomenon.
We have to prepare.
You're a fucking.
Fire in the winter? How did that happen? They just have no evidence. They have just no evidence. Now, look, when I put it past these people, do they have crazy lasers up in space like Cobra, and they're going to shoot them and burn things down and weather machines and all this stuff so that we all think that climate change
Why would I
is
want
happening? I suppose that's possible. But what they really want is just more control over you. And if you think that this Mayorkas guy can't figure out how to close a border, and the rest of this clown car administration can deal with it, let's say climate change was real, like absolutely real, and they're getting moderate, we better do some shit quick. If you think that AOC and Mayorkas and Joe Biden and Jerry Nadler And
I don't sell to stores.
and the rest
You
of
want
these
my
clowns
wares?
want
Right
to
here's
fix
the one place
the
to find them.
environment. I've got a bridge to sell you. But speaking of the clown car Democrats, there are just a tremendous amount of them, and they screw up everything, and then they blame everybody else for it. One of the guys that's doing that right now is Mayor Eric Adams in New York. Now, Eric Adams, who of course was voted in, people said he's not a complete psychotic progressive, he'll be a little bit better. Well, he turned it into the sanctuary city. They're literally kicking homeless people out of the homeless shelters to put more migrants in there. The
Wish I never had to take my saw into the city.
Hotel is
Just like
now
I wish
a
the
migrant
country folk
facility.
had any
We've got
damn
Hamas
money.
rallies every weekend. And what else is he doing? He's quite literally taking taxpayer dollars. So he takes money from the people who actually do good in the city, who abide by the laws. He takes their money and he gives cash to these illegal immigrants.
But one of the things you are doing is an experimental program to provide debit cards with cash on the card. This has created an enormous controversy in the city among some taxpayers who say, why are we paying and giving out this money to these migrants, and isn't this only going to encourage more migrants to come to New York?
And the reason it's created such controversy is because how it has been reported and distorted. Here's what we're doing. We are required to feed migrants and asylum seekers as well as everyone else in our homeless system. About 40,000 are in the homeless system that are not migrant and asylum seekers. We're required to feed them. And so what I told the team to do is we have to find a way to do it that's less costly, because we're in a 30% decrease in the cost of the migrant crisis, and that we don't have food waste. We were able to do that. We're saving approximately $600,000 a month, $7.2 million a year by giving individuals a card that allows them to buy food or baby supplies.
That's a lie.
Such BS. You created a problem by creating a sanctuary city. You said everybody come here and we'll feed you and we'll give you a hotel room and everything.
Yeah, because you want it to be a Democrat fuck, anti-Republican. Now what you got?
But what you most
Moron.
have is a woman who's working as who's cleaning up the rooms, right? And she probably came here legally, and now she's cleaning up the room of someone who came here illegally. Like, think how absolutely bananas that is. But you guys create the problem. We've got to feed all of these people. So how are we going to do it? We're just going to hand them cash, and somehow that will put less strain. It's illegal. First off, can't say it's illegal. It's not illegal. It's immoral at the very least. Just taking from those. And we know that more and more people are just leaving the city. They cannot take it anymore. But every time the Democrats create a problem, they also tell you that they don't have the solution, that they can't solve anything, even though they created it in the first place. Cue Joe Biden. Because we need more forces on the border. I don't have the authority to do that. Oh, he doesn't have the authority to do that. The first day in office, they always talk about the first day in office, he rescinded about 90 things that Trump had done related to the border. He rescinded them. Everyone knows if he wanted to close the border right now, he could. He's not in a bipartisan bill. There is no. We already have all of the laws. We have the laws. We have the facts on the ground. We know where our border is. We're allowed to protect it. Everything they say is an absolute lie. Now he's this is the same guy, and I guess it's not Biden because he's just a mind muddle fool. But these are the same people who 3 months ago were telling us there is no crisis, and now they just need more money. They need more money and more forces. And Biden tweeted out over the weekend that we just need more agents so that we can help process people faster, because that's really the problem. We just need to figure out a way to get them all in. But this all gets back to what Brett was testifying about at Congress, which is that, I don't know exactly why they are doing all this, and you all have your own theory. It's intentional destruction. Biden's not really the president. They're all inept, like they're ushering in communism or Marxism or what's the globalists or whatever. But the point is that the more and more of us wake up to this stuff, they are just not going to stop gaslighting us and lying to us over and over again. And this is what they've done for quite some time. One of the key gaslighters over the last couple of years was Jen Psaki, who was the White House press secretary. Well, after she was probably the worst, most dishonest press secretary in the history of the United States, then she got a gig over at MSNBC. That's how it works. And here she is completely lying about the illegal migrant crime.
This so-called migrant crime wave is just not happening. It's a lie. An NBC News analysis released just this week found that crime has actually dropped in the cities that receive the most migrants from the southern border.
You're such a fucking liar.
Product is a little sketchy, but for Trump, this issue has never been about the facts. It's about feigning fear.
You are a fucking Tokyo Rose, man. What a propaganda pig.
It's the most important problem today.
I don't believe it.
More than the economy and inflation.
Lives. Well, the last part's not a lie. Immigration is what's top of mind for most people because most people do see the actual videos of the crime and the videos of people flooding water and everything else, the stuff that you don't show on MSNBC. Now, MSNBC, she's shooting that right in Midtown New York City. Jen, might I ask, now I know that you have a paid chauffeur who drives you from your, my guess is up or inside a very expensive multi-million-dollar apartment and then drives you directly to the Rockefeller Center and you probably have a security guard to get out. That's pretty great for you and that guy probably has a gun, you know, but whatever, okay, fine. Might I recommend Jen Psaki walk around Midtown New York City, get on the subway, Jen Psaki, and then tell me how safe it is. This is one of those things that you do not need to dive into all of the data. There's all sorts of reasons how they can skew data, but if you want to just go to these big cities, you all know it's true. It's not even worth analyzing her and her dishonesty any further. But let's show you a place where things actually are working. Congratulations. It is not New York. We've got some info here from Florida Boys. Brady, undocumented, alleged rapist, rearrested in Martin County after pressure from Governor Ron DeSantis' administration and Representative Brian Bass. ICE said they had no bed space for the man, but after facing pressure, federal authorities reversed course. And you really need to understand this. That guy you're looking at right there, convicted rapist. They put him back out on the streets. He got no beds for this guy. It's illegal in the bed.
Yep.
Who knows? A full-size bed. We only had twins. Who the hell knows? The guy's out on street. Well, DeSantis was not going to put up with that shit. And yeah, they immediately rearrested him. Here is some info from Brian Griffin on the DeSantis team. Governor DeSantis has zero tolerance for illegal alien criminals who shouldn't even be in this country in the first place. At Ron DeSantis' directions, state law enforcement officials immediately reached out to ICE to insist local law enforcement had the authority to detain the individual and ensure he wouldn't be able to bring harm to civilians. So what ICE from the federal government did not do in dereliction of their duty, a rapist, an illegal rapist, was wandering around. But you know what? You don't get away with that shit in Florida. You get away with it in New York. And Mayor Adams will hand you a debit card so you go get Burger King. But in Florida, we're going to arrest someone. Here is Governor DeSantis talking about how he's giving elections of their own medicine.
I'm sick of elites imposing their vision on open borders on you and on us, with them not having to face the consequences of it. So we thought it was worth it to send 50 illegals to Martha's Vineyard. They said they were a sanctuary city. They claimed that nobody was illegal and all are welcome, but you know what they did? They deported them the next day. They called out the army to deport just 50 of them. Just think what's going on at the border with our border town.
Right thing. And then you also expose their bullshit, right? You expose their hypocrisy and the chip. These people will hold faster than a wet paper bag once they show up on their Martha's Vineyard. Well, we better. You guys are fuckers. DeSantis does it. I get it. Not running for president anymore. What happened to the Democratic Party is to show you that all those institutions collapse. We're warning about while people like this on the gaslight wall of like there are pockets of sanity where things are working. So this has been broke over the last couple days. This is just absolutely spectacular. This is from Chris Russo. Breaking. The University of Florida has fired all employees related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The conservative counter-revolution has begun, and there is a University of Florida administrative memo which explains the entire the whole thing that we get. They have kicked out the university that this is going across the board here in Florida, and Ron DeSantis tweeted it out. One of his lines, Florida is where DEI goes to die. Of course, mainstream countering DEI efforts in several industries. So they frame it, you see how it's framed, leave it there for a moment, Connor. It's framed that DEI is good, socially and racially inclusive. We all know that it's modern racism and it's modern bigotry and all of those things. Alas, the mainstream media will always frame it. If you push back against any of their BS, you're a mean conservative, you're scary, and most likely you're racist. Get that guy on the list. I figured out how to do this segue right here because I was thinking because obviously we're working here at Florida. We're showing a system that's collapsing pockets of places where things can work. We haven't done too much of racehorse politics in the last little bit because it looks like it's going to be Trump and it looks like it's going to be Biden. And I don't sense any energy really around either one of it right now. It just feels like it's just like, bleh, let's just get to November. But okay. Anyway, Trump gave a rally, and
Let's go, girl.
Is the right tone. If you think this is the right tone, right now, you'll see why. One of the opponents, long gone, one of our Republican opponents said, well, I could serve for 8 years, and it's going to take 8 years. I said, let him get that expression out a little bit longer, and then I'll head up with it. I said, listen, if it takes 8 years, you don't want to vote for that person because it should take a year. We're going to get everything done in 3 months, 6 months, and a year. And we're going to start drilling. We're going to start drill.
Oh, there you are. I assume from all the gunshots and howling, you got some good news for me?
Yep, it's done.
That's a relief, I'll tell you. Excellent work. Money's right there on the table.
Don't mention it. Me and Wolves go way back.
Less than a year, 3 months, 6 months. You were already president. You get it. You didn't get it all done. You were a better president than Joe Biden, yes. But no one in there, right? It's like if you're there at that rally, you're applauding them. Like, do you want?
All right, you lazy bastard. Get back to work. Now. The wolves are gone, so no more excuses.
I'm leaving. Don't work too hard.
There ain't much danger of that with this bunch, my friend.
But if you're just going to do the same sort of lying and whatever, it ain't going to fly. I want to jump back to another thing that happened on Real Time Film Hour on Friday night. Fadia Hunger Sargon, who's a journalist, they were getting into it on the panel, about where America is actually meant to be over the term. I don't think she's playing a global conservative Republican or anything like that. But real position is far better now. She's taking out Here's the reality. If you got money, you have good money. How are we worse? In what way are we so? What's so terrible out there that wasn't happening in 2018?
Well, ask the American people. I mean, inflation, immigration crisis, 8 million people here across here illegally. Like, we don't know who they are. Crimes being committed. I mean,
crimes are being committed.
People can't afford homes because of the high rate, the mortgage rate.
If Trump would have built the wall, maybe all these people wouldn't be coming over illegally.
All right, so Tim Ryan, who's former Ohio congressman, that is the biggest cell phone of all time. If Trump would have built the wall, then none of this would happen. Dude, you're a Democrat, you were calling him racist the entire time. But again, they create all of the problems, and then he thought he was being of stupid what he said. Oh, I didn't mean that. But what Bias Arden's talking about is completely right. We know inflation is worse. We know mortgage rates are high, right? The rent is too damn high, as they say, that people are struggling to do things that they could do 5 or 6 years ago. Now, yes, the markets are doing pretty well right now, right? I don't think that's a full judgment where the economy's at. The Biden Inflation Reduction Act, which increased inflation, so we have more debt. But the main two things are immigration and crime. And we know that it is worse now. I get it. You can be super rich and elite and live in a hill somewhere and have your security and not really feel all of that. But that doesn't mean that it ain't true. And this gets to a whole host of other problems that we have, because let's just say you don't think crime is that bad and you don't think that the immigration situation is that bad. What you should at least see is that the institutions that, again, Brett was talking about before, that they are just completely under attack, and how long can they last when the institutions, which once they bring in woke DEI nonsense, they start focusing on that and don't focus on the mission. Great example of this is this video that's been making the rounds over the last couple of days. This is from the U.S. Air Force Academy. They hosted a transgender Pentagon official for a symposium on inclusion. And just watch this and tell me, does this seem like a serious institution? Does this seem like what the U.S. Air Force should be focused on? Do you think our enemies might be watching this going, well, I guess maybe we could take Taiwan or do some other crazy stuff?
All too often, I hear leaders talk about providing everyone with dignity and respect like it's an aspirational goal. That's not good enough.
What's going on with her?
Dignity
I
and
haven't seen her for days.
is the bare
Chewing up.
minimum.
It's that out
It's
there.
the floor of where we can be.
Want a hamburger?
We must set our sights higher
I'm making
and
it.
focus
I
on
already ate.
intentional inclusivity, because there are still far too many people out there, not just LGBTQ individuals, that feel marginalized, shut out, or discriminated against. So for all
You
of
shouldn't
you
be
out
in the
there,
fucking service in
I
the
ask
first
you to
place.
set out your symbols of pride, share your pronouns in your email, particularly if you're a person who doesn't think they need to. Initiate difficult conversations about racial and gender barriers, and share a bit of your vulnerability in a way that draws others in.
You're in the fucking
All have
army,
the power
you
to
decadent
take
fag.
intentionally inclusive actions to ensure the multiple perspectives that we know make us stronger as we devise winning warfighting strategies get heard.
I love how they flash to those like 4 guys sitting there, like that dude or chick is lecturing them about your problems and we need to be more inclusive. There's just like 4 middle-aged white guys like, how much longer?
Can't hear you.
Dude or chick in the Air Force is a pretty good dude or chick. Let's just say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fair enough. And let's just say.
Better make
she's
2.
doing the best job possible.
Just make them one apiece.
All of that stuff, okay? This is stuff to do.
They'll eat it.
I'll grant him or her that. You're doing a great job, dude or chick. But the issue is that they are wasting time talking about all of that stuff. It is not that perhaps a person who was born a dude who is now acting as a chick or wearing a dress, whether that person can be functional or part of the Air Force or anything else. It's that once you let all of this nonsense in, instead of focusing on, I don't know, figuring out, can we make planes that fly a little faster, or will go under radar, or some other things that the Air Force probably should be focused on, we're having a bunch of meetings. Like, look at those 5 guys who are sitting there like, why am I listening to this? They have other things to do. They probably used to do things that were important to the Air Force before this guy in a dress got there to lecture them on how inclusive they should be. But it's not just that. All over the place. This one is just wild. This is Democrat Senator from Karen Berg from California. Oh, no, I'm sorry, from Kentucky. We thought it was California when we were doing the rundown, and then we were like, we better Google this. She's from Kentucky, and here she is basically saying that pedophiles should bang child sex dolls. Enjoy.
Completely unfamiliar with child sex dolls, so I had, of course, to Google it last night. I was a little scared to put it in my search engine, but I did. And apparently, there is research on the subject. Not much, but there are what they call MAPs, minor attracted persons. And the limited amount of research that's done on these dolls, guys, suggests that they actually, for people who are attracted to minors, that these dolls actually decrease their proclivity to go out and attack children. That it actually gives them a release that makes them less likely to go outside of their home. And what was interesting is the research did not support the same conclusions for people who were adult attracted using dolls. That did not diminish their proclivity to engage other people, but for those with the... So I'm just a little concerned that, and like I say, the research is not very good. It is not comprehensive, but the research that is out there is conclusive.
First of all, whoever was doing the camera work over there at C-SPAN, like you...
The senator from Kentucky is an idiot and should never be voted in again.
Mwah, you nailed it. You deserve an Oscar or something like that. All the guys just like, stop, lady. What? Oh, God. What time's lunch? What's happening here? Okay, but the point of all of this, let's put aside whether you should fuck a sex doll for a second. The broader point is, what does this have to do with the government? You get some state senator in Kentucky lecturing, and then at the end she's like, and there's limited research on it, we don't know, but we should probably get more sex dolls out there for these pedophiles to bang. And people, this has nothing to do with the government. Where's George Washington? The other thing that they're trying to do with us, because you will be fucking sex dolls one way or another, because Zuckerberg's going to strap this thing on your head and that thing on your nuts, and...
He has always come across that way, even when he was just a comedian appearing on Carson.
And you're going to be out there, okay? That's what's happening.
Who he is.
Here he is, talking.
That is who he is. You are correct.
About how Meta is working on a new AI-powered neural interface. It's going to be in your brain, too.
About neural interfaces in our research on EMG before, and we now have a working demo that lets you control an AR or VR device with motor neuron signals. Now, I'm not going to show you the headset this year, but here's what I'm seeing while I'm using this. Just the gentlest flick of my thumb to check my messages, and with another quick movement, I can answer while I'm on the move, or I can even take a photo.
Good way to get robbed.
You want to follow Mark Zuckerberg into that world? Again, I'm not anti-technology. I love sci-fi movies. I love robots and science and space and all of those things. But the very people who for the last 20 years have led us off the algorithmic cliff, who have censored us and abused us and locked us in on, they're the ones that are pushing us into the future with all of this nonsense. The other thing that they're coming for is our meat. You all know that Dave Rubin loves meat, and he is not going to give up. Put that on you. Here's Kim Kardashian promoting Beyond Meat, and note that I don't think she ever takes a bite of it in this. She looks like she does, but no, I don't think so.
I believe so much in the mission of Beyond Meat that I've stepped in to help with my greatest asset, my taste. This plant-based meat is not only amazingly delicious, but it's also better for you and better for the planet. It's a simple change that makes a really big difference.
So fun.
And now that I'm Beyond Meat's chief taste consultant, there's never been a better time to go beyond.
She doesn't even look human anymore. She's starting to look like Lama Sue, one of the cloners from Camino. But, okay, she says it's better for you and better for the environment. There's no evidence of that. Actually, eating meat has tons and tons of health benefits for you. But putting that aside, you see what I'm doing? I'm just trying to paint you this picture that it's all so weird. You won't eat meat. You'll follow him into the metaverse. They'll control who can be online and who can't be. They'll tell you when to be injected with these things. It's a whole bunch of craziness. And if you don't follow them into that into that very scary next step of humanity. And by the way, we're going to all go there one way or another. You can't stop progress. But, like, we're going to head there. But the question is, do you want to just head there with blindfolds on, right? Like, they want you to wear the meta thing, but, like, you're going to end up with blindfolds on, and we'll have no recollection of the world that we had that was pretty freaking decent. And maybe that's partly why, I guess, they want to destroy all the institutions. They will create such chaos. Our streets will not be safe. They will be overrun with people. Our institutions won't make sense. Our education won't make sense. But more and more people will be like, yes, I will strap the thing onto my head, onto my nuts. They'll pump this thing into my mouth. I'll eat the bug slime, and I'll be living in Ready Player One. It actually doesn't sound that terrible, I suppose. Anyway, on MSNBC, they are trying to freak you out about white rural people because those are going to be the last holdouts when it comes to strapping all this stuff on.
Why are white rural voters a threat to democracy at this point? You would think, as we pointed out, looking at Joe Biden's background and Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this, so we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism, and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third, anti-democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally without any checks from Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalists and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence as an acceptable alternative to peaceful public discourse.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, because it was those white rural people who have been burning down our cities, right? It was those white rural people who wanted the President of the United States to mandate the vaccine. Like, the list goes on of the lies. Again, it's that freaking mirror. It's just incredible. Mirrors would solve the problem. That's it. We're buying mirrors for everybody. That's all they need there. Just think everything they say is completely the reverse of the truth. They are true, but what they really are trying to do is they want you to think that those white people who just want to be left alone, that they are the real problem. And it just ain't true, and it's dangerous. And wait till we have robots out on the street. We talked about this last week. They're going to have humanoid robots out on the street who will have DEI programmed into them. And wait a minute, there's a white family over there going to church? You better take them out. But what do we do about all of this? Well, we speak truth to power, as you guys know. We can hopefully rebuild the institutions, but really we probably have to move to our own communities and find those pockets of sanity, which, as I pointed out, actually exist. But really there's something much more personal and much more empowering that you can do, which is maybe figure out your shit. And if you figure out your shit, you can start ordering the universe right. Look, I did a little Jordan Peterson move right there, which is a good segue because we got a little Jordan Peterson.
We're already in World War III. So I give that 100%. How far will it go? Depends on how stiff-necked we are. Right? So the Egyptian tyrant is visited by, is it 10 plagues? The last plague is the destruction of the future itself. And what does it mean to learn? Well, this is why I'm a psychologist, not a politician. Or a theologian, to whatever degree I lay pretensions to that. Someone concerned with spiritual matters, let's say. Psychological matters. Redemption is a matter of individual determination. So that's why I operate at the level of the individual. How far will we have to go? Depends on how many sins you decide to continue harboring. How are you connected? How is that decision connected to the destiny of the world? We all bear the world on our shoulders. How can that be true? Here's one way of thinking about it. How much better would the people around you be if you were better? Some, obviously. What's the ultimate extent of that?
6 hours, you get a break, man.
What if you were everything you could be?
That's okay.
That's what you're called upon to be. You're called upon to be everything you can be. Why? Not least because try getting through the world without doing it.
True. It's just true. That line. How is that connected to the destiny of the world? But think about that. If you start doing the thing right for yourself, and I don't sit here as Jesus pretending I'm perfect all the time, obviously, but if you start ordering, next thing you know, well, the people in your family who literally live in your home, they're starting to order things properly because you've ordered something properly. So you've mapped it a little bit, see things getting a little bit better. We start getting a little more order rather than chaos, right? And then next thing you know, your community, I don't know, the neighbors, like, boy, they've been doing some nice stuff over at their house. The landscaping looks nice. They clean up trash. Well, maybe we'll start doing that. And then that starts happening. And then you might actually, as a community, I don't know, build a garden that you all start going to and learning a little something. And maybe you elect a mayor who's a little bit better than your current mayor. And maybe that is what's connecting. That is the powerful thing. And that also gets us all the way back to the beginning of the show when we were talking about those people from MSNBC saying that no, it's the government made you free. No, it isn't, but it's because they don't believe in God or anything outside of themselves that lead them to wanting to create a man-made power that can rule over them. But it ain't right. It ain't right. It's backwards. It's wrong. So I got one more from Dr. Phil that I think will tie this together nicely. Seeing that the problems and the issues that you've been talking about for decades now have scaled up and they're algorithmically charged and everything else because of this thing, what gives you hope that we can actually get on the other side of this and get back to some of the things you write about in the book?
Well, we've got to wake up the masses to what the issues are because, you kind of get back to your life and you think, hey, things are like they always were. We're still watching our favorite TV shows. We're still watching the Cowboys and the Chiefs and the Super Bowl's coming. And we're still going to go to the lake this summer. And kind of, everything's like it was. No, it's not. We've got a generation in trouble here. And we can't put our head in the sand. We've got to say, look, you're electing the people that are precipitating these problems. And it starts from the bottom of the ticket up. You can go in and say, who am I going to vote for president? The biggest con out there is, hey, just vote. No, don't just vote. Make an informed vote. Find out who's doing the job you want and who isn't. I don't care if you think it's Republican or Democrat. Find out who's doing the job you want and vote your conscience about whether they're doing what you think should be done in your community and vote from the bottom up.
Vote from the bottom up. That was the line that I wanted to get you to. That would connect it to the Jordan thing, because what Jordan's saying is it's bottom up. That's how you organize a society. He believes in the individual first, and if you do right by your destiny, that can scale up in your community. And that basically is exactly what Dr. Phil is laying out there from a political perspective, right? Don't expect the king to fix all of your problems, but maybe if you do some of the work that Jordan's talking about, you start doing some of that on the ground, getting good politicians here, maybe we can scale it up this way. We got a lot of work to do. I think that is the point of this Monday show. We have a post-game show where we're going to be fiddling with some lighting. If you want to see us, how we test and make sure the show looks as good as possible, you can join us at RubenReport.locals.com in about 30 seconds. People on the internet live at 1 p.m. Then I'm going to the dentist today, getting the annual cleaning. Ironically, Brock getting a cleaning the same exact time. I did not know that was going to happen. What are the chances? It's the universe speaking. We leave you with the pro-Hamas caucus. May God have mercy on our souls. Goodbye.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I don't know anymore when I sleep or when I don't. It's very sad. Depressing, really. Just depressing. I wish we didn't have to work now. We could work in the yard together or something. I gotta do it myself. It wasn't online for jobs. Nothing going on right now. Sweet. Nice.
And they probably won't get any more.
No, they won't. That was probably the spring. Well, no, it's March. Now they'll get more summer.
The baby's not back.
It's all bad. It's all bad for you. You know why? Because you have to sit on a shelf forever. You don't go to a bakery. That's why bakeries are wonderful. They were made that day, pick it up and eat it. You know what I mean? What's the next day? You got something to roll and you do it. What was the next day was food too. I love baking. I love growing up when I grew up. There were still things like that that were separate to bakeries. You know, bread baked every day. How do we get stuff in the grocery store? Don't be, I don't care anything about it. Don't be a hypocrite. If you're going to be a hypocrite, you're going to stay on Facebook. I haven't been on it. I deactivated my account a year ago. I didn't delete it because I don't want to go back and have pictures of my family or stuff to say. It's what it looks. A yodel is not a yodel. What they call Swiss rolls. Hostess has a thing called a yodel. Okay, and it's the same thing. It looks exactly the same except it's bigger, just a little bit bigger, but it's real chocolate and real cream and real cake. So the taste is completely different. It's like the devil dog, the cake. You ever had a devil dog? Kind of like a hot dog shaped version of the gob. But that's no gob. That stuff was not like a gob. What are they more than I do? Hold on. Hold on. Drink it slowly. Don't let it get too long. Take this right now. I'm going to help you. You don't understand. This will help you. Okay? Hold on. Hold on. Here I come. Here.
feels like a rock.
I know, I've had it happen to me a couple times. Bad.
That never happened to me.
Well, don't. At least you're older now. You. Jeez.
I cannot believe that I am congested again. What is this flu? What is that curse? Is it some kind of curse?
I told you.
I felt better the other day. I thought it was gone. I was like, yay, it's gone. Finally, it's gone. And I wake up this morning and have to give myself a breathing treatment. It's all stuck in my chest. What a bunch of bullshit, man.
It is. Hunter, you want to go outside? Hey, you want to let her out?
Yeah.
You're a good girl. Why don't you go outside and sit outside? She can sit outside all day.
Hey, do you want the date before I leave?
No, I don't care if she goes in the yard. She can't go into...
Thing up there.
My window's open and I can hear her.
What you call it?
I can hear her, and also, she's
Peanut butter cups. They're up in the cupboard. Come on.
What cupboard?
This one right here.
I thought you... I didn't see them. I was going to try and put a pill in it.
Right here.
See if there's a pill.
Let me get my coffee.
Get your coffee.
For the Saturday.
Yeah, you feed her with your fingers, that piece of meat. I don't want to touch it. It's breaking me out. See through it.
That, you see, I don't understand that. Let me just tell you why. Okay?
I don't understand.
Huh?
I don't understand.
You put your finger up a girl's peak whose husband was a bisexual and just cut that fucking someone in half and put it up her thing. That
didn't happen at all.
I threw a piece of meat.
That's
okay.
It wasn't food, you grosso. What are you, Caligula? It's a big difference between food. I don't care, I've licked you too.
Yeah, but by the time you licked me,
and I licked everybody your husband was with.
Yes, but don't forget, that was 10 years. So
Doesn't matter.
So I had 10 years to clean. And 10 years for everything that was inside
I don't
me to
care.
be out.
There's nothing in me. Eat that or throw it out. Eat it. Throw it out. I'm not picking it up. Just pick it up and throw it out.
Why doesn't she want it?
I don't know. This dog doesn't
Just
eat.
put it over here on this.
No.
The cats will eat it, trust me.
Ugh. Gross.
All of her.
Let's see if she'll eat this. Hey, you want this?
That little box is a garbage box.
You better eat this. And no more food on the floor. We're getting ants. They're all over the desk. They're all over here. No more
I
throwing
said
the
I
food.
wouldn't do it, didn't
Don't.
I? I said I wouldn't do it, so I won't.
There's food on the floor now. See all this food down here? That has to be cleaned up. So, well, you gotta do something about it? No.
Well, I have to go to work now.
Yeah. Here, you want this? Come on. You are a pain in the ass, dog. You better eat one of these cookies.
Well, you said she eats that dry dog food that we bought.
I need the pill in her.
Here's a little gap. Garbage gap right here, look. What about try the...
And shit like this has to be sealed.
Try the chocolate. This is a little garbage bag right there. Try the what you call it? Oh my God! What did I just pull out of the cupboard? That. You don't want that?
Nope.
Man, I'm sick of wasting my money. You know what? Let her starve then. Let her be hungry. Alright, well let her go. Let her be hungry. You know what? She'll eat it when she's starving. have a feeling these people are a problem. You know, another problem that they haven't come through and said, Brian, a lot of those people are old, like our parents, and they're prejudice. People, if the clients are homestead, they don't want black people there. I mean, they're old, like our parents. Don't let our parents.
That's why, you know.
My dad was prejudiced. See this? Look, see what I could have had this last night instead of 20-year-old. Look how many cards are in this.
Facing the other way.
You can have 2 of these. 2 pieces are 18. Those rolls were 40.
Yeah, terrible. They're gone. The birds have. Max had half of one. The others got mushed. Made me so angry. Let her out. She wants to go out. I told you to let her out. Let her out. Too bad. I told you to let her out before. Why didn't you let her out? I said let her out. She has to go out. Want to come on, Max?
Instead I'm allowed to pack a lunch. Allie said I'm allowed to pack a lunch. God's sake.
Fix the gate around the pond. I moved the logs.
I pack a lunch.
And I just cleaned up the backyard.
Oh, okay. Where's the mozzarella? Where's the smaller? She said I could pack a lunch.
Where it would always be.
What?
In with the deli.
I didn't see it.
Look, and you'll find it. Hold your hand to the refrigerator.
No, Brian, I don't want you to do anything.
No, don't act like that, but it's ridiculous. You act like a
Say,
baby.
where's the mozzarella?
You don't, because you don't look. Where do you think it is? Where's it been for 15, 16 years?
I didn't see it.
You don't look. You act before you think. It's like a bull in a china shop. Look for it.
Old mozzarella. I use it. So good.
That's my job for the day. I just lifted all the logs, put them underneath that pile, fixed the fence, Picked up the shit. Picked up the lattice. Picked up the pool. Picked up the chairs. Picked up everything. All over the place. Picked up stuff.
What are you doing? Don't do that.
Getting out my frustration on the back.
Better not take any purple on you. Stank makes me breath stink.
What does?
I would love purple onion in the salad, but your breath stinks.
It smells.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Who cares?
I do.
Who cares?
Have some class. I care.
Watch out, Roxy.
Like
I
everybody
don't
else.
even know who
Yeah, well, they probably wouldn't appreciate onion breath either.
I don't want these.
Why'd you get them? Why'd you throw those out? Why'd you throw those out, Carcosa? Somebody would eat sweet. Are you kidding? Potatoes? Oh
I
my God.
got potatoes in my trunk.
They dig that shit up all the time.
I got potatoes in my trunk. Should I turn that over again?
Something to leave them, believe me.
I love sweet potatoes. But you said they're full of carbs.
Every potato is. Sweet potatoes have sugar in them too. But they're delicious. That's why they're so good. I love sweet potatoes. I love sweet potato fries.
Oh my God! I could make it, but I'm not.
What?
Sweet potato pie.
No, fries.
Oh, sweet potato fries. Hey! You get off of there!
It is t-shirt weather. It's too hot.
It's too bad because I can make a good sweet potato pie.
So make it. Don't wait for the sweet potato. Make it. It wouldn't be the most unhealthy pie if you're going to make it from scratch.
Yeah, that's true.
Not going to be little Debbie's sweet potato pie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, make it.
I think our boss is on a upward or something. She has like 4 kids and she always answers the phone.
Hello?
Hey! You know, like, who the hell is happy with 4 kids and a full-time
Which
job?
boss? Instead?
Yeah, Allie. Her name's Allie. She's like the boss of it. David's the big boss, and then there's Allie.
He's Jewish.
She's always like, hey! She's very,
Remember what I
very
said about ants?
nice.
Is there a reason why there's the Reese's peanut butter cup on the floor?
It must have fell out of the package when I moved them.
Ass! Ass Victor says what?
What? I don't care, 'cause I don't know where I'm going.
Then leave now so you don't get there late. It's 2:30. Hit the road, Jack. Don't put any onions in it.
I don't care.
You know, that's really ignorant.
I put a couple in it.
You better get some gum. Because when you do that, you smell.
I can put avocado in there too.
You can be late, too.
I am going to be late.
Don't be late.
No doubt.
Hi, Max. Max! I'd say you can lower the heat, Sonia.
What?
Lower the heat before you leave.
Do what?
Lower the heat!
What heat?
Do you have the heat on?
No.
Okay, I'm saying if you go, lower it because we don't need it. Right, Mac? Max and cheese. Max, peaches.
No, always use all the forks.
That'd be
I
you.
understand why you don't just buy forks.
That would be you. You use all the forks. I do buy forks. They were out of them. You are the fork user. You are the coffee cup user. You! You more. You're trying to break a fan out. I should have left my window shut.
Why?
Because there's no breeze. It was cooler in my room
Oh!
with the window
I
shut.
think there's a fan somewhere that's
With my window shut, it was cooler. There's no real breeze coming in. Slightly. Slightly. Uh-oh. Where the hell is my phone? What? Are you good? Is it good? No Tootsie Rolls. Why? Yeah. I've heard that before. I heard that. No perfume. No perfume today. You should wear it anyway. Put on mine. I have a Coke. Yeah? Is it cold? Yeah, fine. As long as you didn't put your finger in someone's pee hole who had sex with a bisexual. You can stick it in the fridge.
I wasn't able. I can't drink this.
That's okay, honey pie. It's pretty new, right? Because mine was getting flat. Better be careful.
I know. I run out. I'll give it out though.
All right.
I only took one.
Give me the smaller piece if you need it. If you have it.
Here.
Maybe it'll make me sleep. I already worked in the yard, so I don't feel bad. Are you going to the bathroom?
No, I'm looking for glasses so I can find the address.
Where's your glasses? Look in the bathroom. You always put them there. You always put them in the bathroom. Then look out the window and tell me what you think. Look out the window. I didn't check. I'll check. Maybe it's blocked. Maybe it's unplugged. No, then you still have the bubbles coming up. No, you still have the bubbles. The bubbles will come out of the hose someday. You know what I'm saying? I'll look at it. They might have got muck all over them. Wow. I hope this makes you tired. Oh, this is gonna suck. Yeah, it's getting there. I'll burn the rest of that wood. Get that, you know, that blower will probably help you get the pine needles out of the way.
Yeah, what kind of?
Yours. Blue bees.
That was beautiful. What happened last time they got plugged out of the engine to the car and had it pulled out of the box? What do I do tomorrow? I can do it tomorrow.
suck.
Hello, Peachy. Max Peaches. Are you hungry, Max? You want to eat? Want to eat? Hmm?
Oh, hell! Damn heat rashes are killing me.
Hello?
Hey, on that table where I was sitting at, is my expensive sunglasses on there?
Let me see.
What? You sound far away. Talk to the phone. Over here.
don't care much for folk. Open country's all I need.
You got that right.
Sexed.
It's all right.
Happen here, in my view, and not that those guys were right for jumping on him, but you got enough. Anybody with enough.
Where you going, Roxy?
After wrapping up Expeditions of Mud Runners game, I got to spend the last couple days deep diving into a little story-driven RPG on PC called Thaumaturge, a title by Fool's Theory. It comes out on the 4th, and it is about Victor, a man who can see the spirit world, and in particular, the demons or spirits that feed and control emotions. And some humans like Victor can use them. The Salvatores are these unique combinations and mixes of Scandinavian folklore as well as just all the ghost stories you ever grew up listening to. But if you think like the world's edgiest version of a Persona game, you're absolutely right on. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. More reviews coming. Thaumaturge feels like what happens 20 years after the Persona kids leave school, when the mental, emotional, and spiritual drain of them consistently partnering up with demons has come back to absolutely crush them. Victor enters the game looking like got rolled into a barrel of smashed assholes. He looks like he's gonna die, tired, disheveled, slurring a bit, and it's actually sort of awesome. Because from the very start, you're like, this dude is in rough shape. What happened to him? And that really begins the cycle of the storytelling. Then you get the first vision of one of your Salvatore summons hanging out nearby, tapping its cane on the ground like an impatient schoolmaster. And there's no denying it's quite the start for a title. Victor's on the brink of death at the start of the game, has to return home to refine his connection to the spirits, and this is all along this backstop of a huge political revolution. So you can use the spirit's power to find out secrets about the people around there or items. It's a little ESP, a little telekinesis, and a whole lot of item reading. Updates as you continue through the game to core dimensions as you level up end up giving you skills that can be attached to multiple attacks. It can lead to unique
Hi, Roxy. Hi.
Someone in the gut or becoming super focused after you sink your demon on somebody. Honestly, the idea in and of itself draws a nice line also between upgrading and meaningful cost cost that a lot of games don't usually have. Usually, you level up based on the spilled blood gore of your enemy, basically powering that +1 to attack by wiping out an entire family line and then spending their points to raise you up. Well, Thaumaturge isn't exactly different in that way. There's something weird and nicely off-putting about doing this and knowing that a special skill has a bad choice or a weird demon gift attached to it, and that resonates in this perfect circle back to Victor's questionable start of the game when he has a lack of connection with those same spirits. If he was so sick and almost dying because he lost connection, what exactly does that mean for him? What kind of man is he? And if you like your fictions that lie a little to say a lot, Thaumaturge may actually be your game. When it comes to the combat, it's turn-based. This lets Victor and his spirits go into battle. Victor can see what others will do on their attacks, and he can choose which abilities to use and beat them at their own game. You can see what timing they'll use, and some of your moves, some of your attacks will interrupt them.
What?
Alright, shows that we are live. It's streaming right now simultaneously on Rumble and YouTube.
I don't want to see this.
Alright, so I wasn't going to upload this or even make a video about it, but I just felt like, hey, let's just make it and just get it out of the way.
After wrapping up Expeditions Up, and there's no denying it's quite the start for a title. Victor's on the brink of death at the start of the game, has to return home to refind his connection to the spirits, and this is all along this backstop of a huge political revolution. So you can use the spirit's power to find out secrets about the people around there or items. It's a little ESP, a little telekinesis, and a whole lot of item reading. Updates as you continue through the game to core dimensions. Giving you skills that can be attached to normal attacks. It can lead to unique combinations like becoming relaxed after punching someone in the gut or becoming super focused after you sick your demon on somebody. Honestly, the idea in and of itself draws a nice line also between upgrading and meaningful costs that a lot of games don't usually have. Usually, you level up based on the spilled blood gore of your enemy, basically powering that +1 to attack by wiping out an entire family line and then spending their points to raise you up. Well, Thaumaturge isn't exactly different in that way. There's something weird and nicely off-putting about doing this and knowing that a special skill has a bad choice or a weird demon gift attached to it, and that resonates in this perfect circle back to Victor's questionable start in the game when he has a lack of connection with those same spirits. If he was so sick and almost dying because he lost connection, what exactly does that mean for him? What kind of man is he? And if you like your fictions that lie a little to say a lot, Thaumaturge may actually be your game. When it comes to the combat, it's turn-based. This lets Victor and his spirits go into battle. Victor can see what others will do on their attacks, and he can choose which abilities to use and beat them at their own game. You can see what timing they'll use, and some of your moves, some of your attacks will interrupt those. You also want to see a lot of games. Somebody in the short ribs, then have a demon turn them into a rack of ribs in the exact same turn, but you will hear. Another fascinating way in which they tie everything together is that everyone gets their turns in combat. You can switch out your demon at any time, though, with some enemies being resistant to some attack types, meaning some demon types. What I loved here is that those you would expect to say non-react to fear are exactly the ones that are resistant to it and that kind of spiritual attack. It's a nice narrative tie-in that extends into combat and back out around. When it comes to the music, this does the same thing. It's a bit offbeat. It mixes many Slavic folklore-style musical tracks that sound like they're from those times. It carries that old-time feel. It's not really listenable in the same way that probably a lot of other games' soundtracks may be, but it's accurate to try to reflect that time frame. I think it works very well. When it comes to the sound itself, it's not bad. It actually has rain and wind and the crunch of items underfoot when someone's trying desperately to hide an item from the police that they dropped. Environmentals at different locations do speak well to those locations and tie everything in pretty nicely. I would say that I wasn't overly impressed, but so far, pretty good sound. When it comes to the voices, I thought they were all done very well, and while I can see people arguing for hours about what's a popular cult figure or political figure sounded like or how close these are to it, I like that the voices are there and that they went ahead and tried to attempt it. At the same time, there are some grammar issues and some speaking issues that make the game feel a little bit like it's translated from another language, which most likely some of this is, but it ends up coming off in English. There's a couple sentences that just don't make a lot of sense, and it looks like more mistakes than it was some kind of translation. Graphically, the game is a bit all over the place as well. You may travel through some amazing looking areas, but it's a simple alleyway with nowhere to go, no one to talk to, and another simple goalpost loading screen icon at the end of it. Other times, larger areas away into the side offer you these moments to see characters discussing politics and doing activities. It can lead to a bit of an uneven feel, like two different teams work on different spots in the game.
Some character models look fine. The so-called demon designs are unique enough to draw attention, even if a cane-wielding impatient demon always seeming like he's expecting you to get along with it. A school teacher ends up just consistently slashing enemies with swords. Or you have another that's a mix between a Reaper and a Man-Thing, and howls to cause fear and then latches onto enemies' throats. So it's not without its very cool moments. Performance-wise, this time the game is actually running very well, 4K, native 60 above, beyond with no real issues. Frame generation actually causes a bit of a stutter, I noticed. Now when it comes to the combat and the gameplay and everything put together, while it is pretty basic, it is not boring, but it has disappointed me a bit in the core narrative mechanic. And let me describe this, because we've seen it in some games. Here it tries something new. I'm not quite sure it hits. The game focuses so heavily on the flaws of humans. It also means that if you don't want to induce them during conversations, because most of the answers here either have a flaw attributed to them. Again, flaws aren't always bad. It's just game's term for powering of the mystical energies. But there's not a lot of other choices, which makes it feel a bit like you're either Switzerland or Russia, momentarily saying nothing, then dropping withering lines on someone about their health that comes across as oddly off base, and it happens a lot in the game. The player's going to sort of end up having just either a neutral idea of the playthrough or a very aggressive one that ends up really hammering into the flaws, not really exposing the flexibility and the number of elements you can choose. You can either say, I'm going to be neutral, or sort of go nuts, just pick whatever option is connected to a flaw to end up building power in it. That means that so far the neutral reactions really just feel like they're directly opposite, more aggressive and passionate ones, and there isn't a lot of middle ground here. So instead of your Paragon Renegade and Other, you really feel like it's Other or Renegade. Thaumaturge tries to skirt that line between a turn-based RPG light and a Disco Elysium character-based and world-based deep theological discussion, or at least some rhetoric and a treatise on hard life, creating and powering different magics. I think that's cool, but it does feel a bit odd in the narrative moments. For a weird, spiritually interesting discussion, there's also kind of sort of not really even flavor text for most of the items. Currently, its strengths are a leading timeline and worldview, interesting demon best friends, and a skill system that elevates somewhat mundane combat if you buy into the fiction, but at the same time, it is really basic in a lot of the locations as well as the narrative styles. I just wish there was a lot more choice for what you could say, making me feel like when I really went for it, I was actually going for something. I feel like there's going to be a lot of ifs in this game. If you buy into the fiction, if you can stand a lot of walking around, if you can stand a lot of non-interactive areas, if you get this, I'd love to know what you think. The game's priced what seems to be a fair price at $34 for a 20-plus hour game of this kind. Since I haven't beaten it, I can't see if that cost is going to be returned, or if it's enjoyable enough despite the cost. I can say that despite my issues, I'm still playing it. Curiosity often trumps complications, and mystery of circumstances in which the game sometimes excels at is enough to keep me moving forward. More reviews coming your way. Check out the podcast. Check out the Patreon. It always helps. Or become a YouTube member where you get Discord access. Peace out.
We learn way more about the future of Assassin's Creed, some interesting, exciting stuff, but also things that will not sound very appealing at first. So I thought to go over, let's go. So the current strategy moving forward will be to release a mainline game every 2 years, with smaller experiences in between. And this according to Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming, who spoke with many Ubisoft sources who are working on the franchise. But this tactic will start with Assassin's Creed Codename Red, the RPG set in feudal Japan, and that will be out at the end of this year. And Assassin's Creed Hexe will be then the mainline title after that in 2026. And by the way, I have some interesting new info on the Hexe that I'll discuss a bit later. But again, in between those huge releases, we will get smaller experiences. And in 2025, there will be Assassin's Creed Codename Invictus, a new take on the Assassin's Creed multiplayer. I looked around a bit and I found that a year ago, Frederic Antoine, an associate producer on the game, posted job openings, noting that the game is made by a small team led by former senior members of successful Ubisoft multiplayer games. And then he's talking about For Honor and Rainbow Six Siege. So we are probably looking at a PvP Assassin's Creed game, although again, it should be quite different from the early multiplayers we saw, starting with Brotherhood all the way to Black Flag. So in 2027, we can expect another smaller Assassin's Creed experience, and there are a couple of possible candidates. We recently learned, of course, about the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake. Yes, a full-on remake, not a remaster. It just just started development, and it really seems to be the intent to get more out of all the assets and work they put into Skull and Bones, while that game will probably lose a lot of money. So don't expect the graphical upgrades. That should be great, because Skull and Bones can look great at times. I hope they change the combat to be more like the RPG games. I'm sure the name will see some huge improvements based on these Skull and Bones systems. But Insider Gaming now also reports there's another Assassin's Creed remake that is scheduled to be released by the end of the decade. And you would think that this has to be the first game, right? And that's also the only title you cannot play on modern consoles right now. A well-friend YouTuber Jonathan made a video on this news, a link to that in the video description, where he said that he heard that it's indeed an Assassin's Creed 1 remake. Now let's not take this as 100% confirmed, but it is worth noting that 2027 is the 20th anniversary of the series, so then launching a remake of the game that started it all. Perfect. But there are even more Assassin's Creed titles coming that I want to touch on, and they will all live on the Infinity Hub. And we now have some concrete info on what this hub will be. So of course, if you like the video so far, leaving a like would really help me out, and subscribe for everything Assassin's Creed if you haven't already. First though, a really great sponsor that makes it all happen, the Unicorn Overlord, the brand new strategy RPG from Vanillaware, the developers behind 13 Sentinels, and has an 85 on Metacritic. They also made Odin Swear that has an 87, and a game that I loved on the Vita, Dragon's Crown, that has an 82 on Metacritic, and Unicorn Overlord launches March 8th and is shaping up to be another banger. Loving the art style, especially during the battles. So in this game you explore a huge world and have to assemble an army to liberate 5 kingdoms, and throughout the story you can choose to recruit or kill people, form alliances. There are over 60 unique characters that all have their strengths and weaknesses. There's 40 to 50 hours of gameplay with a demo out right now, with your progress carrying over to the game. So totally try that free demo right now on Switch, PlayStation 4 or 5, or Xbox Series. Find a special link in the video description. That would really support the channel as well. And after playing the demo, I at least can't wait for the full release. So thanks again to Atlas for sponsoring the video, and now let's get back into it. So yes, Assassin's Creed Infinity. Starting with Red, all the Assassin's Creed experiences will live on this platform. Insider Gaming was able to see demo footage that shows the user going from the Infinity Hub to Assassin's Creed Red within just a few seconds, picking up where they left off, rather than having to boot up the game individually after falling back to the hub. Like, I really think Infinity is going to be very similar to the Call of Duty HQ, where you can also see all the different games, and then choose to play any of the modes, and jump into the action. And then you can seemingly jump into the game in a few seconds. Sounds really awesome. I don't know how much time in total I wasted looking at the checking for add-on screen for the recent games. Really hope that's a thing of the past, as we're now also, of course, ditching the older consoles with Red. So in the Call of Duty HQ, you can basically see what's going on with the franchise, and check the current battle pass, and see the store. Well, we can do that in Assassin's Creed Infinity as well. There will namely be the exchange, an item shop offering players the opportunity to purchase daily and weekly in-game cosmetics for Red's 2 protagonists, Naue and Yasuke. Red will feature 2 playable characters that both live in the world, and that we can likely switch between, with both of them having different skills and exclusive missions, and a story that interconnects. So shop, but you can also access it through the Assassin's Creed Infinity Hub. They're only doing it different than one. In Skull and Bones, they only have a rotating daily and weekly selection. So if you want to get that outfit or cosmetic they can see, you have to buy it before the timer hits 0. In Skull and Bones, they say that the item might come back later, but yeah, it might also not come back later. So they're trying to create some FOMO here. We see it in other games as well, like Fortnite. It seems like Assassin's Creed will have this as well. And we now also learned about the synchronization feature that allows players to access projects for each protagonist of Red. To explain them in their simplest form, projects are mini battle passes with a narrative behind them, offering players the ability to earn cosmetic rewards. And I'm really not surprised by this. I even did a poll for Valhalla back in 2020 talking about a battle pass after they basically confirmed the seasons for their game. So I think it's a long time coming. And I totally get it. It might not sound like a good thing, but I don't immediately want to jump to conclusions and first see what this battle pass will be. Like, we can already do dailies and weeklies for Red Eye and Valhalla, and we have the weekly Use of Connect challenges. So one of these now instead work towards a battle pass that can give us rewards instead. What I am really worried about though is that a Sargon or Red Eye shop with a weekly selection where you can get these eclipse items for free will not
related news, New York City's mayor recently spoke about the city's controversial decision to give illegal immigrants prepaid debit cards.
We save approximately $600,000 a month, 7.2.
How are you saving money by giving away money, you idiot? You can't save money by giving it away, you fool. You're not getting anything back on that. To win? You are a lying fool.
The cards will be loaded with an average of $12.52 per person per day for 28 days. I'm Hillary. That was your 4-minute buzz. Now here's Glenn and Stu with the show.
So, I just wanted to start Monday with a little song I wrote over the weekend. Rough Greens. It helps your dog eat his food. So, he's your best friend, too. That's why you feed him Rough Greens. Yeah. And I think that is, that only took a couple of days to work on. So that was your whole weekend, pretty much my whole weekend. Try out Rough Greens. It's not a dog food. It's a supplement you put on your dog's food, full of vitamins, minerals, probiotics, antioxidants, you name it, healthy for your dog, probably in Rough Greens. I would sing the jingle again, but I don't remember it. And it's a work in progress. Anyway, get Rough Greens now. RUFFgreens.com/Beck. RUFFgreens.com/Beck. That's the problem with the jingle, is they're supposed to be catchy, and every time I do it, I can't remember what it was. So, roughgreens.com/Beck, 833-GLEN-33, 833-GLENN-33. Find a program coming up for you.
You're okay, girl. To you, this.
Hello there. That horse doing all right? I'm happy to stable that for you.
Hello, America. Welcome to the Playback program. Glad you're here. Supreme Court came out yesterday and said it's going to release one opinion today, and it is probably the Supreme Court's decision on whether or not Donald Trump can be on the ballot.
It's all yours.
In places like Colorado. So they're giving a lot of time. But,
Appreciate it.
Apparently, Colorado took him off the ballot because of Section 3 of the Constitution's Fourth Amendment.
Sounds good.
It says people are not eligible to serve in government if they engaged in insurrection.
You good boy?
Those interest you?
Let's just assume you could just declare somebody guilty of an insurrection. Is there anybody else that's on a ballot that we could declare engaged in an insurrection? We begin there in just a couple of seconds. Stand by. Relief factor. If this sounds familiar, you're going about your day trying all the things you normally do, and all of a sudden it hits you. Ow! 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 Yeah, I know. I've been through it. You've been through it. I got my life back with Relief Factor. Would you try it? You suffering from pain? Why don't you change that?
I've been trying everything I can.
I know. I did too. This is a daily supplement. It's not a pain pill. This is something that helps your body fight pain by fighting the inflammation in your body. It's not like Advil you take when you're in pain. It's
Hey, partner. I suppose I can share my fire. Come and sit a spell. Thank you.
Overturning, I believe, of capitalism. Overturning the American family was an insurrectionist.
Hell of a ride today.
Say that she engaged in insurrection?
I know.
Sure, why not? But everyone
I don't
else,
care for most folk. You're all right.
If Donald Trump, which I don't know, how was he engaging in insurrection? How was he? If you had him organizing, you have texts from Donald Trump organizing the crowd.
Place like this will get even old Scratch to give God some thanks.
Overthrow the election, blah, 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 all these things they don't have. Well, then you can be charged with insurrection. Correct. And they don't have it. Correct. That's why they haven't charged him. So, they didn't even put it in the
Damn, hotter than hellfire today.
It was even part of the impeachment they ran out there. They didn't even, they say it all the time, but they know they don't even have it legally. And of course, they didn't need it legally to take him off the ballot.
It's hard.
So what do you think the Supreme Court's going to rule? Because it's going to come down and probably they are going to rule that this is nonsense and it's able to be on the ballot. And the question is the over-under, let's call it 6.5 votes. Over-under 6.5. Do you get a Kagan? Do you get, no, you're definitely not getting Sotomayor. Forget it. Do you get a Kagan? Do you get a Ketanji Brown Jackson? I think it's possible. I think it's, I will say, I ain't one. Maybe one out of those three.
But it damn sure beats wasting away in some honky-tonk.
Theoretically possible you can get as high as you cannot get it out because Sotomayor, I can't get that. Taking does not agree with whatever AOC wishes in the most feverish effort to be injuring this.
Damn folk won't leave me the hell alone.
Do you have new information on this?
Nice to talk.
Yes. It's one of those things that without any evidence, I just believe. Mysteries. Yes, it's really very hard.
Done wasted enough time chewing cud.
The Don's decision.
So long.
I certainly
Bye now.
probably Sotomayor directly, but it could have been one of our underlings. Mysteries. But that's just
Hold on now. I swear I've seen your face before.
There are two pieces that are kind of together on this, which are an expected.
There. Let's go, girl.
He should be about, and the case that he has sort of widespread. Now, my belief is a pro-Trump ruling today, a anti-Trump ruling on immunity case of questions about, I think there's an instinct, certainly it's a John Roberts type of instinct, to try to get these to be blowouts, 9-0s, 8-1s in the court, because it shows you get one on each side, it shows some sort of like unity when it comes to obvious things in their mind. Do you think it's obvious that the president doesn't have immunity? It really has more of a official presidential act of that. Bring it, like, I think the drone strike is obvious. Like, he has a drone strike because of our military. Again, there's other parts associated with it. Might not be a perfect example, but it's a delayed action. Military action is something that I think is obviously within his realm, not be charged with something where you murder people into that, but obviously not be part of that falls in the middle, I suppose. You can certainly make an argument that arguing
You ain't supposed to be here. Get lost.
I mean no harm. I'm just a visitor.
I told you, get lost.
That you felt that there was
Well, that ain't too nice.
That's it. Oh, you beat the tar out of you.
these crimes, investigated, and this is correct. So, I mean, I think that's not where you think they're going to fall in belief, and I do not think they're going to fall on some side. That's my own belief. That's where I think they're going to fall. We'll see within a month. That's how it's coming up today. I don't think there's any question. I mean, I would be, if it posted, I would be, well, what about the state? The states are the ones responsible for elections. Well, I mean, I don't think that, again, you're talking about a federal issue when it comes to
You got a problem with me or something?
so I think that's what I think most fascinating about this, and I am highly confident that Trump will prevail here. What's absolutely incredible is how many times we are in this very position where we are predicting 9th Supreme Court justices votes. And what is on the other side of that is utter chaos. If they were to go the opposite direction on this, it would be national emergency status type of stuff. And we are hours away from this thing coming down. If it goes the wrong way, basically Donald Trump can't win the election. That's basically what is at stake in the next couple of hours. Now, I don't believe we are at any real risk of this, so I am oddly sanguine about this particular about this particular period. But, like, how many times have we stood here or sat here in this particular case looking at the Supreme Court as the last line of defense between our country and utter chaos? That is a terrible place for us to be. This should not be as routine as it is. And honestly, like, it would, I mean, you're much more of an expert on whether the country will turn to chaos in the next 5 minutes. But, like, if they say that Donald Trump, the states can take him off the ballot, and they will take him off in many states. Take him off. Certainly, blue states. There will be chaos in the streets. There will be chaos. Even if, like, even if California decides to do it, there's a lot of people in California who really want Donald Trump to win the election and will have their votes basically taken away. But it won't even be framed as that. It'll be framed as, I think, American side, it will be framed as you don't have a right to choose. Let the people choose. And we argue that's what a democracy does, is the people choose. You say you lay claim to democracy. Well, the only part of the democratic republic, the only part democracy comes in is one man, one vote. If you control who we can vote for, what's the difference between you and Vladimir? What is the difference? I don't know. And it's so bizarre they're doing it while constantly arguing about how important democracy is. Like, this is the only part of the democratic republic. This is the only democracy part, is the vote they're trying to fix. It's incredible. Like, what form of democracy allows you to be the only one listed as an option? Like, that's not that's Saddam Hussein democracy. It is. You know, and the same kind of democracy that throws their reporters in jail. It is that type of democracy. The same kind that also show me the man, I'll show you the crime, and puts the opponents in jail as well. It's just incredible that they're trying to do this at all. Because I feel like there used to be, and this is the same thing with the Steve Baker case you mentioned, reporters being thrown in jail, and we're talking later, right? Next hour. It used to be that when there was a question, when it came to national unity, the foundations of what kept us a country, right? Like, again, these are just pluribus unum, right? Like, these are documents. You know, a lot of places have constitutions that get overrun every few years because they don't actually 17 years is the average length of a world constitution. Right. And here we are, 200 plus, right? So almost 250. So you think, right, it used to be that when the appearance of that, those things that bind us together were tearing apart, both sides would come and say, wait a minute, guys, like, all right, let's err on the side of not this guy, you know, I don't know, I don't even believe he was a journalist, but you know what? He's working at a major conservative outlet. He's criticizing us. Like, this should be the last thing we do. This is just going to send a signal to half the country that we have absolutely no rule of law. Like, the Constitution means nothing. Maybe this is one, we skip the misdemeanor charges. What's the point of it? What do we get out of it? Chaos. First of all, we're completely lying in this situation. But secondly, what do we get? We get chaos. It's playing into those things instead of trying to disable them. Weird that in 2009 I kept saying chaos is going to be the operative word when all of this comes. Yeah. If you are on the side of chaos, you will be on the wrong side. Because everyone will be looking for chaos. It's crazy, because here it is. All right, back in just a second with more. Lawrence wrote in about his dog's experience with rough greens. He said, I bought my dog many different kinds of supplements over the years. She would eat just a little bit of it, not very much. Usually she just kind of shied away from it. But when it does come to rough greens, not only does she eat enthusiastically, she'll finish by licking the bowl clean. So she has more energy, and it's a treat for her. Thank you. Lawrence, thanks for writing in. Rough greens is not a dog food. It's a supplement developed by naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black. You sprinkle it on your dog's kibble food. Remember, brown food, everything has been cooked down. It's dead food. You want the green stuff. Folks at Rough Greens are so confident your dog is going to love it. They have a special deal for you. Just go to roughgreens.com/bag. RUFFgreens.com/bag. Or call 833-GLEN-33. They'll give you the first trial bag for free. You just pay for shipping. 833-GLEN-33. 833-GLENN-33. Roughgreens.com/bag. 10 seconds. It's a great op-ed by Jonathan Turley about the Blaze writer, Steve Baker, who's arrested on Friday. This is Friday's podcast. Former New York Times writer and now Howard University journalism professor Nicole Hannah-Jones declared recently, according to Turley, have you read this yet? That journalism is activism. Advocacy journalism is all the rage in journalism schools and on major media platforms. Given that shift in journalism, one would think that these editors and journalists would love Steve Baker. Baker was arrested for covering what he viewed as citizen protests defying the government demanding justice. He did not entry into the Capitol on that day. Baker would not only later supply stories to his mainstream media outlet Blaze News, but also sell his videos to the New York Times and HBO. So it didn't have any journalistic credibility. Why would they buy that? Journalists often accompany protesters and even mobs as stories unfold. Indeed, there were many reporters in the crowd that entered the Capitol. Baker, the conservative journalist, was the one charged when others were not. The response from most media figures and groups has been crickets. The Justice Department leaves little doubt why they pursued Baker. Criminal complaint and FBI agents repeatedly referenced Baker's support for those who stormed the Capitol. Entering through a broken door like hundreds of others who were in this Capitol Police stood behind and directed some protesters. Baker was in the building for only approximately 37 minutes before police let him out. The government claims that the Texas-based writer antagonized police officers when they blocked his effort to get through a door. He said, quote, "Are you going to use that gun? Are you going to use that gun on us?" They also, he was later stating in an interview with a local television station that he was quite excited to see this going on. Do I approve of what happened today? I approve 100%. Now, he has an answer to that one coming up in a minute. He also pointed out his image and footage was emphasizing that his red hat was not MAGA, but Northtown, Virginia. He would later joke that it was a shame that he didn't get his hands on Nancy Pelosi's computer, given what he might have found. This is another context. In any other context, Baker might be the poster boy for new journalism. J schools now encourage students to leave, quote, neutrality behind and push solidarity as a commitment to social justice that translates in action, end quote. Recent series of interviews with over 75 media leaders, including Leonard Downing Jr., former Washington Post executive editor and Andrew Hayward, former CBS News president, reaffirmed this. As Emilio Garcia Ruiz, editor-in-chief, San Francisco Chronicle, stated, objectivity has got to go. So, what's the problem with Steve Baker? More on this coming up in just a second, and maybe from the need to protect oneself from family is just about the strongest driving person.
Put them hands up, or I'll make you.
They make sure our Constitution protected the right to keep.
I hate saying it again. Get your damn hands up.
Preservation of others. The right to shoot.
No more chances. Get him.
You shoot. Don't shoot to wound. You shoot to kill. But not every situation like this calls for lethal violence. It's always good to have as many options as possible. That's why you should have a Byrna launcher. It is a non-lethal air pistol that fires kinetic or tear gas rounds, and it will stop the attacker dead in his track, minus the dead body. Government agencies, police departments, they're replacing their taser. Or some of you know carries a taser or, pepper spray. You need to look into Byrna. Byrna launchers are great. You don't need a license.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Oh my God. Oh my. I'll help you with that. I'll leave you guys alone in a hurry. Get those clothes off. Oh, now ran over, man.
Spring is the perfect time to get away. Do it like this. With a great deal on your favorite Hyundai.
I can't do shit with it. Yeah, rate the blinds, rate them up. Sit there and suck that cock, baby. Sit there and suck it. Come on, girl.
I've had enough.
Oh, lick that thing off. Did you get that? Did you get that? Yeah, I got that. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, look right here in the camera. This one. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, camera's going in the front. Back it up. Hit that button. Back it up. Back it up. Hit that great button in the middle. Shit out.
Writer, author, former state and federal law enforcement officer, more than a decade of experience. He worked his first dog that Doug put to bed with.
I've been waiting for you inside with a home tattoo. Happy birthday to you. Was created for you. The saints cannot believe you taking my heart to pieces. It'll take a little time. Might take a little cry to come undone. Now we'll try to stay blind to the hope and fear outside. Hey child, stay wilder than the wind and blow me to fly. Who do you need? Who do you love? When you come undone, who
Be okay. I knew that I would now, na. Feel good. And I knew that I would now. Yeah, you.
Hello, Dad.
Just get back another tea.
I feel good. I feel good.
Some cold foam coffee? Wait, cold foam coffee at home. It's International Delight Cold Foam Creamer. We're foaming baristas.
Foaming cream coffee with International Delight Cold Foam Creamer. It's foaming delicious.
Looks like you've been quite busy, little brother. Too bad I'm gonna have to tear it down. I'm gonna need you to strap up. Right down.
Her name is Hillary. She is not fat. She's rather skittery.
Hey there, happy Monday. I'm Hillary. This is your Formative Buzz, and here are some of today's top stories. The Supreme Court has announced that it will release at least one opinion sometime today, and many are wondering whether it will be a decision on former President Donald Trump's 14th Amendment case. Trump is battling the state of Colorado in the Supreme Court after Colorado kicked him off the 2024 ballot for allegedly engaging in an